The weekly code quiz. What is the role of the media attribute for source in the picture element? The media attribute specifies a condition used to evaluate whether the source element fits the scenario. If the media attribute is determined to be false, it is skipped and the browser moves on to the next element. What is the role of the srcset attribute for source in the picture element? The srcset attribute states where the image is located. Take a look at this code with a media attribute. Given this example, what image would load if the browser width was 800 pixels? Sample logo-wide.png. Looking at the code again, the key is the media condition that states that the sample logo-wide.png image will load with a minimum browser width of 600 pixels. Since 800 pixels is larger, it meets the condition. Given the example, what image would load if the browser width was 400 pixels? Sample logo-narrow.png. Looking at the code again, the 400 pixels does not meet the media condition, so instead of loading the source image, the browser will load the default image defined in the image element. Let's look at the full code again. Which elements in our code are empty elements? Source and image. Neither has a closing tag, only an opening tag. What additional information can you include in a srcset attribute for the source element? You can also indicate the size of the image by stating the width or its pixel density in advance of the loading. The attribute also allows listing more than one image. Commas should separate them, but it is best not to mix notation by widths and pixel density in a single statement. Let's look at an example. What image would load if we have a phone in landscape mode with a browser width of 600 pixels? Image_sm.png. Looking at the code again, we will look to the first source that matches the media condition of landscape orientation. Then we find the image that would most closely match the width of 600 pixels. The 800W and 1200W images would be too large. What image would load if we were on a 27-inch desktop with our browser open the full width of the screen? Image_lg.png. Looking at the code again, we will again look to the first source that matches the media condition of landscape orientation, which would fit using a large desktop screen. The 1200W would be the most likely image appropriate for such a large screen. What image would load if we were on the latest Retina display iPad Pro in portrait mode? Image_vert_lg.png. We would move to the second source for the media condition of portrait mode. Since we are on the latest Retina display iPad Pro, we would load the 4x pixel density image. Here is the code again. Does the order matter when listing your source options? Yes, order matters. Once the browser finds an image that works, it will stop looking at the rest of the options. Next, we will look at how the addition of the sizes attribute changes the results of our code. Presented by Designers Learn Code.